Okay, everybody. I'm here to read some rants. I was going to do this at the end of the last video, but apparently I ran out of time. I had to delete some other videos and stuff. But I thought I'd read some fan rants by Fox Tracks and Volk Rock 295. Volk Rock 295. These are fan rants. Let's go with Fox Tracks first. And his is entitled Mecha Sally, Good Idea, Horrifying Execution. And he did this 2 days, 8 hours ago. And he states, and I quote, "When Mecha Sally was revealed about a year ago at Comic-Con, many Archie fans threw up their hands and walked away, claiming that Archie had gone too far and ruined their favorite character forever. Wait, why? Is Sally some kind of sacred cow? Can she never ever get hurt, ever? I don't understand this. Heck, at least one fan threw a fit of rage after seeing a panel that featured Eggman welding on her. Boo? People, why is Sally getting hurt? Why is Sally getting hurt such a big deal? Characters in fiction deal with physical and mental adversity. Characters in fiction deal with physical and mental adversity. That's how stories work. Then again, this has come from someone who's written no less than 6 fan fictions about Tails getting hurt / killed / doomed to a slow, painful death and Sonic having to cope, so I wouldn't blame you if you take my words with a grain of salt." And this is this is a Fox track that's saying this. Mecha Sally can, and he puts this in bold, can be a really good story element if she was used incompetently, or was used competently. As Volk Raw 295 pointed out, there was an old issue where Sally voluntarily roboticized herself while carrying a Neo overrider that keeps her mind intact even after roboticization. However, the Neo overrider fell off unbeknownst to Sally, and she wound up getting roboticized straight 8, after which she rounded up the Freedom Fighters and had them, and he puts this in bold, seconds away from being roboticized themselves. To put it in perspective, the current Mecha Sally has gotten her ass handed to her by Tails and Amy at least twice now, and has done nothing but evade and then run away. That's right, old-timely Mecha Sally was more productive in, and he puts this in bold underline, capital bold underline, one bloody issue the new Mecha Sally has been in 80 issues. I know it's not really that long, but it feels like it. Now, think back to Endgame. It was a dark, epic story, though I'm not gonna lie, it did have its flaws. With the stakes higher than ever, making a grand encompassing plot line revolving around Sally's death. If the creative team behind Endgame did a Mecha Sally plotline in the same style and cut down on some of the extra characters, it would go down as a great story. Not to mention, it would last at least 6 issues instead of the 10,297 we're inevitably going to get from the current story arc. Sally getting roboticized is not the problem, people. Mecha Sally's uselessness is. And so, that's Fox Track's little rant, if you will, or journal rant on it, basically stating the same thing that Volkra had stated, and that is, when Sally was roboticized originally back in issue 29 of the main comic, she did more in that issue and half of that main issue in half of that short story, or that short main story, than this one is. So it makes you wonder. Now this is Volkraw's rant right here, and it's called, and it's asking, is Eggman getting stale? And this is what Volkrock295 says. Hey look guys, a rant. I'm not submitting anything to a certain group directly. For the record, I'd advise joining, even if you like the characters, because most of us actually do like Sally, Antoine, Nicole, etc. We just don't like how they've been handled. So yeah, more ranting from me and others, good parodies of what Flynn is doing, butthurt Flynn fans to troll the works. Join us today! And this is Volkrock295. Shameless ranting aside, on to the subject matter. Dr. Eggman. He has in one way or another been with the Sonic series since the start of the franchise. He is Sonic's arch nemesis. And yet, in my opinion, he is getting stale and doesn't make a very good villain anymore. In the 90s, the sort of villain who sat and brooded and used minions and machines to fight the heroes was great. It challenged the heroes on a level they themselves were rarely on. The best example would, of course, be Lex Luthor. The difference is that Luthor is not only smart, but also untouchable as a person, and always has kryptonite handy to bring Superman down to his level, at which point he will proceed to kick the shit out of him. Yeah. Luthor is actually a rather bad. Excuse me. Gotta drink some more. Luthor is actually a rather badass. Is actually a badass. Let's put it that way. The thing is, Eggman never posed such a threat to the Freedom Fighters. He wasn't on a separate level. Roto was just as good, if not better, with machines than him, considering that he made stuff that killed Robotnik's mechs in a forest with a box of scraps. Sally was just as good at being a technician, and Tails and Nicole are flat out smarter. However, the time when the mastermind was cool has passed. Now a good villain is one that can fight the hero, match them, and even beat them on their own level, as well as being smart. And the thing is, there are plenty of Sonic characters who can do that. Mogul, Nagus, Jamel, Metal Sonic, and of course, Mephiles. And yet, Eggman endures as the default villain. One of the tropes I'm familiar with is actually a Doom, and he puts this in quotations, is actually a Doombot, which refers to the idea that every time Dr. Doom gets beaten too easily, it will later turn out that he was not Doom, but actually a disguised bot. However, with Eggman, quotation, actual Neo-Metal Sonic would only work as an excuse for him being too effective, not the reverse. Now, Sonic is capable of punching out gods and eldritch abominations by himself, so Eggman's mechs don't look threatening anymore. Oh hey, giant robot, yay, I flew through Satan's brain last week. Eggman, not scary. The weird thing is, another series that is currently in Archie's claws, Mega Man, avoided this. When the jump from classic Mega Man to Mega Man X was made, Dr. Wily was no longer the main villain. Instead, he was replaced by Sigma, who would often fight X and Zero hand to hand. However, Eggman has continued to endure, going from Sonic Nemesis to, like Knuckles, an artifact, a character or concept who is no longer relevant, but clings on because the fans would bitch and whine even more than usual if they were to cut out because they've been there for so long. Now, Eggman is experiencing a resurgence in the games as of late, and I think the reason is simple. The games are no longer taking themselves seriously, so something as corny as Eggman fits right in. However, the comic is still playing him for serious. A role that he does not fit. And the name Eggman was good when it was an insult. If he uses it himself, it sucks. So yeah, those are two fan rants and arguments, if you will, about the current situation with some of the storylines in Sonic, in the comic book. Basically stating that, well, one, as Fox Tracks puts it, the Mecha Sally idea is good. The Mecha Sally concept, Sally being roboticized, weaponized, is a good concept. But unfortunately, it's not the best. Unfortunately, it's not being executed the way it should be. I mean, just like Volcra 295, and I'm sure others would agree, issue 29 in just a few pages of the last part of the first story of that issue did it better than what you're seeing now. So basically it all comes down to this with Foxtrack. Either do something with this concept to make it interesting, or just drop it. In other words, either de-roboticize it, which probably will happen, but we don't know, because we got to play the game that Ian and Paul are playing. So we'll just find out. And as far as the Eggman getting stale deal, I don't know about him getting stale. I think what it is that when you look, I think from Volcron 295's perspective, and I'm sure some people may agree with him, the way Eggman's portrayed sometimes, especially if you look at Sonic X and such, it's more like, you know, they're trying to make him menacing, but you can't make someone menacing if they look like a goofball or something like that in other sorts of media. You know, you can't make him look menacing if, let's say, previously they went insane and went cuckoo kind of deal. So, and you can't make, so, and also you can't make them look menacing if, let's say, the understudies, the minions like Linda and Snively, maybe even Regina the Iron Queen, prove to be more smarter, more resourceful, and more prepared than he is. So, I can kind of get what Volcross 295 is coming with that, but you got to realize this. All main heroes have to have a main villain, and in this case the main villain for Sonic is Eggman, no matter how you look at it. So, no matter how you look at it. So that's about it. And one last thing I want to add in. Some people at the message boards are saying that Sally is a Mary Sue. Let me explain something about Sally. She is not no Mary Sue. I mean, you look at all these other female leads that are sort of in the Sally category. Do you see them as Mary Sues? Do you see Jean Grey as one? Rogue as one? Maybe, maybe not. Do you see Elisa Maza as one? Do you see Gadget Hackwrench as one? Just saying. You know, I don't see any of that. But to me, I don't think the character is a Mary Sue. I just think it's the fact that some people look at it like, you know, they just wanted to move aside and let Amy or another female character take that position. And, you know, that's still right. If they feel that way and they want, let's say, Sally to just move to the side and say, hey, let Amy have that spot, or let Bobbery Koala, or let Loop have that spot, or let somebody else have it, and so be it. You know, okay, fine, that's your opinion. But to me, she's not a Mary Sue. Never has been, never will be. But I will agree that sometimes it doesn't help whoever writes her in an issue, that whoever writes her dialogue in an issue, or so, like some have in the past, sometimes it doesn't help that, you know, the way it's looked at by a fan or a reader, it doesn't help justify that situation. But honestly, she's not. So, to me, you know, let's just drop that. And that's all I'm going to say. And comment, video response down below if you like, and I'll talk to you all later.